Hello and welcome to the Eating Disorder Therapist podcast. I'm Harriet Frew, eating disorder therapist, here to support you in overcoming disordered eating and finding peace with food. So before I launch in today's episode, I just want to say to you that if you would like to receive written articles of the podcast episodes, do sign up to my Substack. The link is in the show notes. I write twice a week, and that is also then as a podcast twice a week. And there's also an option, if you want to subscribe to my paid subscription, you get an additional chance to ask questions, get some journal prompts and other goodies. So yeah, go to the link in the show notes. Now today I'm going to talk about the 7 deadly signs of disordered eating and to think about what is normal eating anyway. So how do you know if you have a healthy relationship with food and your body? I think this is an acutely challenging question to answer, as the culture normalises extreme eating practices and body preoccupation as the norm. So maybe you might be listening and you might feel, well, I don't have a full-blown eating disorder, or you might think I'm not thin enough to properly struggle with food. But I would always argue that if your eating is causing you distress, it may be worth taking a closer look at it. And today I'm going to explore different disordered eating behaviours and then also look at some suggested thoughts about what a healthy relationship with food might look like. So first of all, let's look at 7 different ways that disordered eating can show up for you. So number 1, a preoccupation with food. Now, if you have a peaceful and healthy relationship with food, then you don't tend to obsess about eating or have continuous food thoughts. So yes, you might need to give thought to packing your lunch or getting something out of the freezer for later. Maybe you're thinking about doing a grocery shop and having a vague plan for your meals. But food is more like a gentle hum in the background of your life, a bit like breathing. But when you're deeply preoccupied with food, you're in a constant battle with your mind. You might be planning days ahead about what to eat or not. And you may bring much judgment about making the right food choices. You may be delaying hunger, delaying eating whilst pushing down your hunger. And you might be fixated on the cakes at work and noticing how much other people are eating. You may fear losing control of your eating if you go to the shop and buy a chocolate bar. So the food noise is blasting loudly on repeat if you are preoccupied with food, rather than it being that nice gentle hum in the background. Okay, number 2, restrictive eating. So when restricting food, you're in a perpetual battle with your body as you try to limit your food intake. Now, restrictive eating involves dietary restraint, which means usually one of the following ways of restricting your eating. It could involve delaying eating, not eating enough, and or eliminating food groups. And this is when you don't have a diagnosed allergy or reason for doing this, because obviously for some people, maybe they need to eliminate gluten, for example, if they are celiac. So with the different types of restrictive eating, first of all, delaying eating. So this is very common for many of my clients. It means like putting off eating to try and reduce overall calorie intake. So people will often miss breakfast, maybe have their first meal at lunchtime, and then maybe sometimes even the evening meal happening around 9 p.m. each night. And you might feel rigidly bound to eating times, and social eating brings undue uncertainty and anxiety. The next one is not eating enough. So this involves counting calories or micromanaging food portions or groups. Calorie counting apps and fitness dietary regimes have often normalised this behaviour as healthy, but for many, this ultimately leads to undereating and a restrictive food intake. And the third one of restrictive eating is cutting out a major food group. So this involves eliminating or reducing a food group. So it could be things like it could be like a food group like kind of trying to not eat fats or something. Fats, I think, in the past were very much demonized, whereas in recent years, carbohydrates have taken pride of place here, particularly with the advent of the wellness movement. For example, spiralizing courgettes, replacing pasta, and bread becoming very off limits. So with all types of restrictive eating, you override your hunger cues and follow an external plan and rules rather than listening to your body. So you tend to feel good when sticking to the plan, but bad when you deviate from it and go off-piste. So your worthiness as well becomes very dependent on your ability to follow the plan. So very precarious. Okay, number 3, binge eating. So binge eating is not simply scoffing an extra biscuit with your morning coffee break. Instead, it involves eating fast an extremely large amount of food, more than you would eat for lunch or dinner, and usually in secret. And it can feel like a dissociative or out-of-body experience. So you're fully present and grounded on earth, but it can feel like a demon has swept over you and taken all rational decision-making away. So whilst binge eating can be fleetingly euphoric and pleasurable, it tends to be short-lived before guilt, shame, and self-loathing descend like a dark cloud. Plus, the physical consequences of feeling overfull are deeply unpleasant and sometimes painful. Number 4, purging. You make yourself sick through self-induced vomiting, and it's become a daily habit that you barely think about. However, it impacts your teeth, you have acid reflux and gastrointestinal issues, and you live with significant shame and secrecy with no one knowing about this part of your life. And you may also take laxatives and become dependent on them to feel empty and clean. You feel dehydrated and dizzy but cannot consider reducing them. Number 5, chewing and spitting. You find yourself chewing but not swallowing, sometimes small and sometimes substantial quantities of food. And you spend considerable time and money on this. It is a guilty secret that engulfs you in shame and isolation. Number 6, over-exercising. You feel that you must earn your food through activity. You track steps, go to different gyms to avoid the concern of others, and compulsively monitor your movement from dawn till dusk. And you're frequently exhausted from the toll of over-exercise, but the thought of reducing it brings up intense fears. Number 7, compulsive weighing and/or body checking with mirrors or photos. So you monitor your body with precision, noticing and calculating any potential change or flux. And you find yourself seeking constant reassurance about your body and checking metrics on repeat. So your feelings about your body can oscillate wildly over the course of a day, and you are terrified of your body changing. So those are some of the 7 signs that your eating could be disordered. Obviously, I could probably go on. This is quite an extensive subject, but I think those 7 things that I've mentioned are some of the ones most seen commonly in the therapy room. So I'm now going to talk about what is normal eating anyway, and my personal thoughts on this. Okay, so normal eating. Number 1, it's being food neutral. So eating is a neutral towards pleasurable experience. So you might feel yum yum after enjoying a delicious cupcake or crunchy green salad. Eating is not producing rampant feelings of guilt rippling through your day and lowering your mood. And eating is also not the pinnacle of joy on the pedestal either, at least not every single day. So I think food is meant to be something that we enjoy, and it's really pleasurable and such a significant part of life. But if you have disordered eating and eating disorder, eating has become often the pinnacle of your day, and you're kind of looking forward to that thing all day. And it's taking up too much importance and taking over other areas of your life. Okay, number 2, regular eating. So normal eating means eating regularly and including all food groups, unless you have a genuine intolerance. So it does not involve prolonged periods of restriction and denial or eating only orange foods on a Tuesday. Number 3, satisfaction. Normal eating leaves you satiated and satisfied. You're not still hungry after eating or overfilling your tank to punishing levels. And having said this, there is no perfect eating, and a normal eater will regularly slightly undereat or overeat with a knowing trust that your body will balance things out. Number 4, social eating. Normal eating means socialising with friends at a birthday meal without anxious scanning of menus or bringing your own healthy food box on the side. So you can be present in conversations without calorie counting or food rules distracting you. Number 5, no food rules. Normal eating involves an absence of rules and restrictions. You may still have a self-care structure around eating, honouring your health. However, there are no hard and fast lines drawn in the sand. And this means that a normal eater is far less prone to that "I've blown it so I might as well eat everything in sight" effect, as they have no wagon to fall off in the first place. Number 6, weight. Normal eating involves your weight remaining broadly stable. And a normal eater probably won't pay much attention to weight anyway, as there is a deeper level of self-trust and natural attunement to the body's nutritional needs. And number 7, background. With normal eating, food blurs into the background of life, rather than taking centre stage. Eating may bring immense amounts of pleasure and joy, but it is not at the forefront of decisions or taking up buckets of emotional energy. And with food in its rightful place, You have greater focus and clarity for projects you love, meaningful relationships, and inspiring hobbies or life adventures. Your values remain in focus without everything revolving around food and your body. So if you're listening and you're struggling with disordered eating, it can feel incredibly challenging to move towards a healthier relationship with food. And it can be deeply bewildering to navigate this journey with the media bombardment of new dietary regimes and body overhauls inundating your psyche. But it is never too late to become more attuned to your body and to develop a healthy relationship with food. So be patient and compassionate with yourself in this process. So do you struggle with disordered eating? Have you minimized your struggles due to diet and wellness cultural messages? And what has helped you to find more peace with food? Do let me know. I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for listening today. If you're not following me already on Instagram, do seek me out, the Eating Disorder Therapist _. And for further support with your relationship with food, do go to the eatingdisordertherapist.co.uk. And if you enjoy this podcast, I would be so grateful if you'd follow, rate and review, as it helps it reach so many more listeners. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to sharing another podcast episode with you very soon.